I cannot believe what I'm seeing as Montreal goes into Florida on a back-to-back, outscores the Lightning and Panthers 9-2 over 2 games. Jake Evans goals in 5 straight games. The second line with Newhook scoring is rolling at 5v5 finally. We got contributions across the board, but the fourth line is the story right now with Armia scoring, Heineman getting an assist, Evans getting another goal, and even Galley capping it off with that empty netter. There is so much we have to dive into in this game in what was probably Montreal's best game of the season. Stick around for all of that, plus a big note on Cayden Primeau, and if you haven't heard it yet, you'll want to hear that coming up at the end of the video. Jesse, let's just jump right into this, and I want to talk about this game. I think we all do. Feel free to pause, take a look at the box score. If you haven't looked, my gosh, is it ever beautiful. Let's make it even bigger for all you fine folks. My goodness, 2 points for Yoel Armia, a goal for Dvorak, goal for Evans, goal for Gallagher. I'll play the highlights again in a second. Jesse, there's a lot of guys that we got to talk about in this game, but who better to start with? Honestly, that whole fourth line, but mainly our boy, Jake Evans, who is on one of the hottest tears in the entire league right now.
He's just keeping it going right now. He's got the hot hand. Obviously, 5-game, goal scoring streak, definitely the best of his career. This has to feel amazing because, Martin St. Louis has always said, like, there's more offense in his game. Like, we believe in him in this way. So the fact that he's kind of taking off, it's just so amazing to see a player like that succeed. But let's face it, it's not just him, Josh. Like you said, it's that entire line.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I got to just show you guys this because this is one of the craziest stats I've seen. Now, Hockey Reference didn't update this before I went into this video, so just imagine you add today's to this. This is Jake Evans' last 5 games before today. So in his last 5 games before today, he had goals in 4 straight and 7 points in his last 5. You include today, he has another goal. He has 8 points in his last 6 games, including a 5-game goal streak. But again, it's Yoel Armia too, Jesse. As in the 5 games before today, he had 4 points and 2 goals. Added, he had 3 goals, 2 assists in his last 6 games now. I don't have Heineman stats, but they're a big reason that Montreal's 8-4-0 in their last 12. Is it crazy? Is it a stretch to say that this has been the best fourth line in the league for the last week or two, probably 2 weeks? I mean, look, I'm going to be honest, I don't look at the fourth lines all across the league, but especially considering what Evans and Armia bring on the penalty kill, let alone on the 5v5 game, where they are one of the most consistent teams at puck possession in the league, or the consistent lines, I should say. It's been unreal to see these guys' production.
Yeah, and Heineman's a beauty. We see kind of muscling at the end of the game, off the Lightning player. Armia battling through some interference as well to make that goal kind of happen. And again, Josh, it's the depth, like you're saying, like this fourth line, but Montreal Canadiens, as far as last year and even earlier this season, not long ago, we were like a one-line team. Basically, you shut down Nick Suzuki, Cole Caufield. That's about, about 40% of the Montreal Canadiens offense right there. So right now, the fact that they're the only line that didn't score in this game, and the fact that we're getting that production throughout the lineup, that's why we're getting those wins, last night against the Panthers and again against the Lightning. We're able to build off these really solid habits here. But Josh, I think we have to talk about our boy Patrik Laine, who once again is leading the way because he's kind of that X factor. We've seen the Montreal Canadiens have been different since he's been in the lineup. It's not just a flash in the pan. It's since he's been in. So if we're trying to make sense of why are these W's happening, he's a big part again, prolonging the play, in the offensive zone with that size and that skill, again, to open up that Newhook goal, which is absolutely amazing to see. He's not just unlocking Kirby right now, but also our boy Newhook, Patrik Laine. So amazing for grace us with your presence tonight. An amazing game from him once again.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, listen, I try my best every single time I'm out there. And I know we don't have any Mitchell Stevens Player of the Game awards here as Josh is in Newfoundland, but it is what it is. No, but you make a great point. I'm going to rock these highlights one more time, Jesse.
Thanks, Pat.
Sorry guys for having to watch these highlights. Again, I say sorry, not sorry every time. You have to watch through a few things. But this one here, it was Laine who creates that play by going around the net and then feeding it to Matheson. Also that Newhook and Laine connection there. Newhook passing it off the backboards to Laine, who brings it back up front. He is creating so many opportunities for the second line. And that first goal today, Jesse, just like the first goal yesterday, like you mentioned, being created by Laine, but not just Laine, also Kirby Dach really getting back into his possession game, looking a lot smoother and more confident with the puck on his stick. This second line is something we really wanted to see get rolling 5v5 and not just have Laine go crazy on the power play. And this is finally what we're seeing, and we're seeing the results. I mean, we know, Jesse, when Montreal gets out to early leads, they're not going to lose a whole lot. They're now 12-1-0, I think. They showed the same graphic today and yesterday at 10-1-0 heading into the third with the lead. I think it's now 12 after today's win. Could be wrong. Maybe it's 11-1. Either way, when Montreal has a lead, especially after 2 periods, they're a very good team. They're 8-4-0 in their last 12 games. They're one Columbus collapse away from winning, I think, 6 straight? And that second line's a huge part of it, Jesse. I just wanted to talk quickly again. I know we mentioned Line, we got so many guys to get into, but I just wanted to shout out Kirby as well, because I just think he's looking a lot more confident right now.
Absolutely. He's looking so much more poised, as you were mentioned before the show, Josh, like relaxed with the puck and confident, which is amazing to see because we know that the good players there. It's what I've been kind of speaking about. Like, it's a mental thing. Like, we know that Kirby Dach can play hockey. So obviously if he's not producing, it has to be something other than the hockey because we know he's got that covered. So absolutely amazing to see. He's also making good decisions, with the puck and just the Montreal Canadiens as a whole. That was a really big one of knowing when to get the puck in deep and also when to kind of find that good positioning. Like even Patrik Laine, I was really impressed back checking and knowing when to kind of Montreal Canadiens, they were going for like 1 forechecker and then they were having a lot of like 4 Habs right at that defensive blue line for them. Like Laine knew it, like he was okay to kind of get back there, form kind of that wall there. So just amazing to see that the team, like the positioning really came first, that team game really working together. So like, Josh, I'm starting to get excited because there's some amazing things here. We knew that this team wouldn't get complete until Patrik Laine was back. But like, as you mentioned, like without, like a very close loss there at the last second against the Blue Jackets, like again, we're on a winning streak. We had that loss, but now we're back on that 2-game winning streak. Once again, it's not just kind of a flash on the pan. It was like the power play goals are happening. But you see Laine contributing 5v5. We see Evans just continuing to do what he's doing up and down the lineup. And it kind of makes sense why the Montreal Canadiens are stringing together some victories right now.
And as the recording of this video, Montreal's only 3 points out of a wild card spot. Now, Ottawa is still yet to play Minnesota as of the time we're recording this. The result of that game will influence it. If Ottawa wins, Montreal will be 5 points out of a wild card. If Ottawa loses, Montreal's only 3 points out. They did officially overtake the New York Rangers today, which is a crazy thing you never thought you would have said at the start of the season. Jesse, I do want to mention one other thing before we move on to. There's a couple of defensemen, a couple other guys I wanted to mention too, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about our boy, my boy, Newfoundland boy, Alex Newhook. 2 assists in yesterday's game, his first 2 of the season, getting another goal there today. An absolute snipe from Newey. He's looked great. He's honestly looked better than his numbers suggest all season. I think he's played fast. Yeah. He hasn't necessarily found his home, but I think he has now. But also, Jesse, the whole team right now, there's a couple things I want to point out. Montreal, for the first time this season, had over 35 shots. It's just their second time, I believe, getting over 30 shots in a game this season. Maybe third. I think it's second. But this was in large part, as we talked about before the show, due to the offensive opportunities created by the defense. And we saw this yesterday in Florida. And you look at the defensemen, like they were getting points. Alex Carrier with 2 points, also playing 21 minutes of ice time. He was our second most used defenseman behind only Mike Matheson today. He has played a critical role in this team. He's also helping out on offense, picking up an assist on what we thought was the Guhle goal, ended up being a Dvorak goal. But the defense right now, Jesse, is doing a great job of keeping teams to the outside. Ignore the Brandon Hagel goal, whatever, right? And the Kucherov goal was a fluke when the squeaked through Monty's legs, right? So right now, Montreal is really, really hemming it into their own zone. They're giving it their all. They're blocking shots, and they're creating great breakouts. The guys are gambling at the right time. They're turning defense into offense with the best of them, and that starts with this D-core, who has been extremely good over the past couple games.
And that Devo goal is not happening without a very skilled play by Carey. Like on that assist, it's a really quick one to kind of get the puck to Guhle right there. Again, only allowing 21 shots in this game, against the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's a really big one. Obviously, Monty was really good tonight as well. Like he was quick. He was there like before Kucherov, like many a time in this game, like in position, just really make those saves. So again, like, great call out on Carrier because, again, we're looking for success for this team. Patrik Laine, the Carrier effect. We're also, definitely seeing right now of like, just getting a little bit of a solid combo, even though it's a short sample size. Like if that can continue, that's a big thing for Montreal to maybe kind of get some momentum. There's still a lot of hockey to be played here. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but there's some really strong indicators because it's like these aren't flukes. Like they deserve to really get this game. Like this first period, pretty equal for the most part, but from there on, Montreal Canadiens really kind of took it. There's no kind of huge defensive lapses. You'll see maybe Madsen getting a little bit aggressive time, sometimes rightfully so, sometimes not, but like same time, no like big errors from them at all. So it's like they're showing they really deserve to win these games by just playing some solid hockey all around.
Yeah, the Lane Hudson Mike Matheson pairing has been a lot better defensively than I think we could have ever thought. Like in a vacuum, those guys can both be solid defenders. Like we've seen it. We've seen Matheson play a lot of PK. Hudson's been a surprise, but like they don't look like they're lacking much on the defensive end, which has been insane to me. But this Guhle-Carrier pairing, Jesse, my gosh, like, I cannot wait to see another full 2 years of this, because these guys just don't let the other team do anything. I love Alex Carrier. I love this pairing. We can talk about these guys all day long, but let us know your thoughts on all this down below. There is one final thing. We're running out of time in this video. One final thing we got to mention, Jesse, before we go. I mentioned off the top of the show, Cayden Primeau was not claimed on waivers. Shocker there. The worst goalie in the league this year, statistically, I would say, has not been claimed. I really hope Cayden Primeau can find a nice bounce back in Laval, because right now he's taking over for Jakub Dobeš, who of course was called up and had that amazing shutout. He'll go down and be a duo with Connor Hughes, with Luke Haviland getting the occasional game. He's actually looked really good since being called up from Trois-Rivières as an ECHL kind of level replacement goalie. He's been solid, but right now Connor Hughes, of course, coming over from the Swiss League this summer, has been really solid. He had a couple of bad games this year that have deflated his stats a bit, but we know Cayden Primeau's great in the AHL. Jesse, we talk a lot about Montreal. Right now, we have either Dobeš or Primeau. You can call Primeau back up eventually later in the season, and you can send Dobeš back down with no penalties. But regardless, the idea that you always have Hughes, Dobeš, or Primeau in net for Laval is also so good for our farm system to produce that winning culture down there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is really big for Laval, who's looking to really kind of make some noise this year in the AHL. And, obviously with Cayden Primeau, like, he knows this isn't personal. It's just obviously he knows himself. He just wasn't producing at the level that he really needs to. But he's not a stranger to adversity. He's kind of had some hot streaks. He's gone cold, but he's been able to bounce back. Now, let's face it, the odds are stacked against him. The chips are against him at this point, but he still has an opportunity. We know injuries, different things happen. Right now, he will have to claw his way to get another opportunity at the NHL level, but Cayden Primeau is in control of that. If he plays well at the AHL level, something kind of potentially happens. We know every single day it's getting, harder and harder to become a goalie for the Montreal Canadiens. We know Jacob Fowler. We don't need to complicate. We don't need to make it worse for Primeau. He already knows that for himself right now, but obviously it'll be interesting to see, can he bounce back? Can he get his game to the level where he needs to be? Because the story is not completely over for him yet.
We're going to have to wait and see, because I still think he can be a part of Laval, but this offseason, both Dobeš and Primeau, if I'm not mistaken, are RFAs.
Yeah.
So decisions have to be made. Do you sign Dobeš to like a 2-3 year deal, maybe a 2-year deal to bridge it? Then do you sign Fowler to his ELC, put him in Laval as the number one guy? You let Hughes go. There's a lot of decisions to be made, but we're not going to think about that yet, because we're still focusing on the positive. Let us know your thoughts on all this stuff down below. This amazing weekend of back-to-back hockey. The challenge doesn't get any easier, Jesse. We got Vegas coming up. We got Colorado at the end of this road trip. It's going to get tough, but Montreal has proven that they might just be able to hang with the best of them. That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for watching every single day. The support has been insane, and we cannot thank you enough. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you on the next one.